Welcome back to Distant Gooner TV, people. The channel that brings you all the latest Arsenal news wherever you are in the world. Great to have you here. This is your match preview for Arsenal versus Brentford under the lights of the Emirates on Saturday. Man, what a come down. What a come down after Tuesday night's magnificent performance. Let's face it, most of us are still hanging off the ceiling following that 3-0 victory over the champions of Europe, no less, Real Madrid. So yeah, going into the Brentford game, what a fucking come down. With all due respect to Brentford. As always, great to have you here. We'll be looking at the key tactical battles, whilst also reviewing the form of both and looking at the head-to-heads as well, and highlighting the key players that will be influential in this match, and also looking at the key dilemmas for Arteta going into this match. Finally, as always, please make sure you're smashing that like button and subscribe. Please, we need to grow this community, so please hit on that subscribe button if you like the channel, and make sure you're hitting that notification bell to get all of the latest updates coming straight to your phone. Let's get into it, people. As we said, still riding on the crest of a wave following that magnificent performance on Tuesday night. Arteta, I salute you. What can I say? Absolutely got it spot on. I've given you criticism over the last few weeks, and quite rightly, I believe. But yeah, can't fault you on Tuesday night. Absolutely brilliant performance. Now we have the come down, that is Brentford. Now the pressure's still on. Let's face it, we're second in the league, and I'm not, we know the league is gone, but I really do believe that whilst we're unlikely to go down as far as fourth, I think, but, it's Nottingham Forest could overtake us, so I still think there's an element of pressure there. We still need to make sure that we're getting wins and we secure that second place. Obviously, on the opposite side of the spectrum, Brentford, very little to play for, middle of the road team. Yeah, they've possibly got an outside chance of Europe, but it's unlikely, people. But I guess that in itself poses a threat because, they can just play free-flowing football. They've been solid performers this season, and it's going to be all about balancing the demands of the league with, of course, the crucial upcoming game, second leg versus Real Madrid this week. So Arsenal's challenge isn't just about getting the 3 points. Mikel Arteta has got to balance the squad this week, more so than ever. Some may say the game is done against Real Madrid, but not me. We should know all too well that, they're champions of Europe for a reason. So, we need to be on it on Wednesday night. And therefore, there is going to have to be squad rotation this week. So, it'd be interesting to see what he does. So, let's get into the form, people. And looking at this, it's kind of surprising, actually, because I feel like we're constantly drawing games. And as you'll see, we have drawn a couple, but on the whole, for the last 5 games, we've been in good form. 3 wins, 2 draws. Obviously, hopefully buzzing off the back of the Real Madrid game. Brentford, on the other hand, 2 wins, 2 losses and a draw. So a pretty mixed bag, and, probably what you'd expect from a mid-table team. But a couple of really good results in there. Particularly the standout one there, Bournemouth 1 and Brentford 2. We know how Bournemouth have been flying all season, so that's a really good performance. Of course, the Leicester one would have been to expected. I saw that game, and they were brilliant, Brentford, that game. But to be fair, Leicester are shit, so, it's hardly surprising. But it looks like, they've struggled against the top team. So, they've lost to Villa there, Newcastle, and in the last game was a draw against Chelsea. So, from a form perspective, you would say Arsenal are the form team going into this. And now focusing on the head-to-heads. Now, one of the most surprising stats I saw on this was actually the time of the kickoff and not the result at all. Looking at the last 5 games, a lot of them have been 5:30 on a Saturday night, which is exactly the same as what we've got coming up on the weekend. So clearly, The TV executives love Arsenal versus Brentford. There was another game that was a 7:45 game as well on this one, so there was only one game that was 3 o'clock. Anyway, I know we're here to talk about the football, and as you will see from this graphic here, Arsenal have a fantastic record against Brentford. Please don't let me down, guys, but this we have been solid. I remember, I think it was the first game that Brentford came up. Do you remember that game where we had a number of injuries and we ended up losing 3-0 start of the season? And I thought, God, here we go. But ever since then, really, we've had a really, really solid record against them. Last meeting was in January, so we beat them 3-1 at Brentford. And the last game at home was 2-1. So, yeah, we've won the previous two before that. So we're on a good run against Brentford. So certainly we've had the better of the head-to-head over recent years. Now, looking at the key tactical battles, I mean, like a lot of Premier League teams, they play a 4-3-3 much like we do, and they like to press high, and they're very good in transition, and their key players really are Damsgaard, Wissa, and then Mbeumo. I mean, Damsgaard, fantastic playmaker in the middle of the park. He really has been instrumental in a lot of their good play this season and their control of the football. And Mbeumo, what can we say? I mean, he was linked with us in January, wasn't he? And to be fair, I would have absolutely happily had him at Arsenal. He's a really, really quality player and I think really underrated as well. Same with Wissa. I mean, Wissa, I don't know sometimes if he's a striker, if he's a winger, if he's a midfielder. He's kind of a mix of everything, but he's certainly, again, a really effective player. And if you think they lost Ivan Toney at the start of the season, and particularly them two have really, really stepped up, and I've no doubt they're going to be dangerous in this game. It's a key factor in Brentford's play. They're really good in transition, they're direct, they're fast, so particularly the likes of Lewis Skelly and whoever's going to play on the right back position, I anticipate it will be Ben White. They're going to have their work cut out, definitely, on Saturday. And we'll see again, people, if we can break down a tough, resolute, compact team. Because no doubt Brentford are going to come, like I said, they'll not park the bus, but they're going to be solid. And you would imagine they will sit back, they will still press, but they will rely on that pace in transition to get a goal on the break. So we've got to be on it. And like I said, I don't want us dropping more points in this league, particularly in these home games, because it appears in the Premier League we can't seem to buy a win away from home at the moment. It's a constant draw. So I really think it's key that we, like I said, we need to solidify this second place ultimately, and we need to be winning our home games to do that. However important, obviously, the Real Madrid game is, we still need to get something out of this game. We've got to find some creativity out of this game, people. We know generally that creative spark comes from Martin Ødegaard, and he's going to have to step up. He's been, I'm not going to mince my words, he's been absolutely shit this season. He's been diabolical. Now, whether there's injuries that have played a part in that, I've no doubt, but, you know, he's been fit for a while now, so those excuses are just, they're wearing thin at the moment. I just think he really needs to put in a performance. I mean, I haven't heard much criticism following the game on Tuesday because, as a whole, of course, we were amazing, but I don't think he was that great, personally, and that's why I put in the reaction video. Please just go and watch it. Key dilemmas, people, and I think it's fair to say that our priority has got to be the Champions League, and after the game on Tuesday, honestly, we've got to protect definitely Saka. To me, that kind of goes without saying. But Declan Rice, I would absolutely be making sure that he plays in that game on Wednesday against Madrid. I mean, as much as it's important to take points out of the game on Saturday, I think he hasn't got a choice. He just hasn't got a choice, has he? He's got to rotate the squad and keep our key players fit. I think the driving force that Declan Rice offers, as well as obviously the free kick ability that he clearly showed on Tuesday, means he's just essential for that game. I mean, and he has been for weeks now. He's that driving force in midfield. We're not seeing that from the likes of Ødegaard. Partey is obviously amazing, but he's not that kind of player. He's the six that will just sit in there and break up play brilliantly, I might add. But they are different players. So yeah, I think he's definitely got to protect him. And I would be shocked, absolutely fucking shocked if Saka plays. I'll be fuming, in fact, if he plays, because even on Tuesday, you know, however much he influenced the game, and this just says a lot about Bukayo Saka as far as I'm concerned, because he didn't look fit. The same in the previous games before it. You can just tell he's kind of missing something, whether it's a bit of pace or I don't know, or whether he's just kind of wary because of the injury, but he's kind of missing something. However, the way that he took on Alaba on Tuesday and put in a number of different crosses was just, it just showed that he is just a game changer. He's an absolute game changer, and we have to protect him at all costs. I know that we haven't got much to bring in. Of course, it's going to have to be Sterling for this one, but I just think it's we haven't got an option. We have to protect him for our big game on Wednesday. Sorry. Ultimately, it boils down to the priorities, doesn't it, in the squad? And priority to me has to be the Champions League. We're not winning the league, so it has to be full focus on that game. We haven't won it yet. Yes, it was a great win. It's put us in a great position, but we need to finish that job over in the Bernabeu on Wednesday. So, my starting 11 and prediction. So I'm going to go with my starting 11 first. I say my starting 11 because I'm sick of doing these predictions, because I think, let's face it, most of us could predict what Arteta is going to do in terms of who he is going to play. So I think it's more interesting to put a spin on it and put a view on it of what I would do in that position. And also, I'm interested in what you guys would do. So off the back of it, please make sure that you're letting me know in the comments what you think of my team selection. What would you do? Anyway, let's get into it and let's bring up my lineup for the game on Saturday. To me, defensively, I don't know if there's, certainly from a centre-back point of view, I don't know if there's an awful lot that he can do. You could argue that it's a risk still to play these guys, but I don't think there's a load of options that we can bring in. So I would go with Raya in goal, Saliba, Kivior. I'd still play Kivior. Give him more match time. You know, it's not as if he's had a lot of games this season, so just keep that run going, keep that consistency in his game. Ben White, I would definitely bring in on the right-hand side. We know that he's kind of working his way back into it, isn't he? I mean, Arteta's not playing him in every game, but certainly in the games that I've seen him play, he's certainly shown us what we've been missing, certainly from an attacking point of view. So I'd definitely play Ben White. Controversial on the left-hand side, so I'd probably bring out Lewis Skelly. Lewis Skelly, again, was amazing on Tuesday night, amazing. And I just think, you know, why sort of risk him in this game? Just give him a little break. And to me, Kieran Tierney has come on a number of occasions recently and looked quality. He generally hasn't come on in the left back position. He tends to put him on higher up the pitch, but I think he's been absolutely amazing, and I'm going to really miss him because I think we just don't, or we haven't utilised him as much as we could have done. He's a quality player. He's a good defender, and he gets up and down that left-hand side. He puts in some brilliant crosses, so I would give him a go at left back. We've got him there. Why not use him? He's not going to let us down. I've then gone for Jorginho, and I think, again, that speaks for itself. Partey is amazing, but we know in the past, you know, he can be a bit brittle, so, you know, again, I wouldn't risk him in this game. We've got a ready-made replacement there in Jorginho, so I'd whack him in there. Again, this might be controversial, but Zinchenko, now we've seen him in Europe playing midfield when Arteta tried him out against PSV and he scored that goal. And again with this one, the main reason of bringing him in is I wanted to give Rice a break and protect him for the game on Wednesday, because that's the biggest priority. So that was my primary reason for making this decision. But again, Zinchenko plays in midfield for his national team and he played quality there against PSV. I really think he can offer some level of creativity in that position, which is, I think, what we need. And I think he could work perfectly on that left-hand side in combination with Kieran Tierney, Leandro Trossard. So I would definitely go with Zinchenko. Then I've put in Ødegaard. Now, I did this because, as far as I'm concerned, he needs to step up. So this wasn't a case of protecting a player, because to me, at the moment, he's offering very little in terms of what he normally brings to the team in terms of creativity. Goals is just completely dried up for him. I think he needs to find something, so that's why I would absolutely play him in this game, because I honestly think if he was out of the team, he ain't going to be much of a loss. Yes, his pressing is, I'll give him that. He always works hard, but he needs to offer something more at this stage for the team. And then the front three, again, I think this will kind of pick itself. Sterling, I feel, needs to come back in for Saka to give Saka that break. Not that Sterling, we know, offers a lot, but, you know, he's a body there. Trossard, I would absolutely bring in on the left. It seems to me at the moment that Martinelli has absolutely grabbed that position anyway. And I absolutely agree with Arteta on this one. So I would just bring Trossard in, give Martinelli the break. We know, again, he's been recently coming back from injury, so what's the point in risking him? Merino, I struggled with this one because he seems to be our only option that Arteta's going with at the moment. So I was kind of thinking, is this a risk playing him? He played really well. I'll give him absolute credit, and I know I haven't always done that, but the goal on Tuesday was fantastic. And yes, his stats are pretty good, but I don't know. I think he's pretty robust. I would go with him, but it's one of them where it's almost a lack of alternatives. So I feel like we kind of have to. So yeah, what do you think, guys? That's my 11, and as I say, I know that's completely going to be different to what Arteta picks, but it's good for debate. As I say, we're all going to have a different opinion on this one, but I'm really keen to know what you guys think, so please, please, please let me know in the comments. And in terms of my predictions for this match, I believe, we've looked, haven't we, at the form guide and the head-to-head, so I am confident going into this one. Hopefully they take a bit of that buzz from the weekend. Certainly know the fans will. I'm sure the stadium would be rocking on Saturday night and everybody will be ready for this. Whether the players will struggle to get up for it, there may be a bit of a hangover from the game on Tuesday, I've no doubt. They've had a few days to get over it, but we know how this goes. There's always some element of a hangover there. But I still think we'll go over the line. If you look at the head-to-heads, we've been pretty good against Brentford. Famous last words, touch wood, but I honestly think we'll beat them. And I'm going for 2-1. Hopefully then we can, as I say, celebrate a win, solidify that second place, and let's roll on to Wednesday night against Real Madrid. Cannot wait. Absolutely buzzing for that. So once again, guys, thank you for watching the video. This was your match preview for Arsenal versus Brentford. I'll be with you to preview the Real Madrid game coming up in the week. Cannot wait for that. As always, people, make sure you're smashing the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe. Please. And thanks for watching.